UFC Vegas 94. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. Looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe, turn the post notifications on. Make sure you share the video too. Also note, I have the full card fight companion at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss the fight companion. Even though this isn't a stacked card by any stretch of the word, at least come hang out with your boys. So make sure you tune into it. Let's get into the first fight of the night. We got Mohammed Usman versus Thomas Petersen. This is a heavyweight fight that could end up being a badass knockout that gets the fans hype at the Apex, or everybody at home reaching for a pillow and taking a nap with a bit of a snoozer. Unfortunately, I think it might be a snoozer. I'm going to predict Usman lands more effective punches and is able, for the most part, to keep Thomas Petersen off of him. I know Petersen's going to look to smush him up against the cage, throw pepper in shots, hold him, try to take him down, probably fail on takedowns. And then what? Just lay on him against the cage? It's the small cage, right? So it definitely brings the ailment of a Petersen smother attack. But I think Usman's strong enough and good enough in the clinch too to get out of those positions and at least land some big punches. I think he gets it on the cards, but I will hope as a fan, hope and pray as a fan, for a damn knockout, because I want to see some violence to start this card off. It's not stacked, but at least give us some damn good fights. I'm hoping so. Let's look at the scales. My God, is that Peter Griffin? That is Peter fucking Griffin in the UFC. I don't understand the mentality of an athlete who doesn't dial in strength and conditioning to any sense of the word. Now, Petersen, I'm sure he's looked like this his whole wrestling career, and he's done fairly well as an amateur wrestler, but this is MMA now. And if you look at the top half of the top 15, right, there's nobody that's elite that has a fat boy physique anymore. It's just not common play in the heavyweight division. Doesn't mean you need a six-pack, but you can't look soft. Now, I'll give Petersen some respect. He came in the 250s, high 250s, whereas normally he was walking in at like 264. So I give him respect getting the fat down a little bit. But we need Peter to get down to like 240 with a little four-pack, and then we'll start taking him a bit more seriously. Then we got Mo Usman, who is the essence of a specimen, looking pretty damn jacked. Came in the mid-230s, so he is giving up like 20 pounds in weight against Thomas Petersen, but I definitely don't think he'll be giving up significant amounts of strength, if not any strength. I don't understand how Petersen weighs more than him. Like, look at the structural difference. Usman is thicker. Usman has bigger arms. I don't know. Weirdly, Petersen somehow just has heavy bones or something like that. I think Usman wins this thing. Petersen was not impressive against Pogues by any stretch. And then also, even against Chandler Cole, yeah, he ran through him on the Contender Series, but Cole lost in the first round of the same Ultimate Fighter season that Usman ended up winning. So I think we're going to see a Mo Usman victory, probably lands some significant shots, probably gets his hand raised. Yeah, we're riding with him. Usman's a slight underdog. What just happened? Minus 105, minus 110. The line is coming down. Petersen opened up as a plus 155 favorite. He's even money with Usman now. I feel like Usman's got him. He's going to land some big shots. Petersen, yeah, he could smother. So over 2.5 at minus 210, I think is pretty likely, because I don't think Petersen's chinny, especially with that block-sized head. We've seen how tough Peter Griffin is in Family Guy. I think it kind of correlates to this. Then looking at Usman to win, decision is plus 125. If you're stretching for a KO, it's plus 360. I think Usman should get it done. I think we should go over. I see him as the better fighter. Petersen really only has smothering pressure as his option. He doesn't really have much outlets to damage here against Mo Usman. So I'm going to go with the motor, Mo Usman to win. Next fight on the card, we have Luana Carolina versus Lucie Pudilová. I'm going with Luana Carolina to win. I was initially thrown for a loop when this fight on Tapology was listed at bantamweight, but I knew UFC.com had it on flyweight. I had no idea what weight class we were in. So if you watch Sunday's show, I was picking Carolina at fly, but then I'm thinking the fight's at 35 and I'm leaning Pudilová. So we know the official pick now. If you don't hear it, here it is now. Luana Carolina. I believe she'll land better shots. She's a better striker than Pudilová. She also has decent wrestling defense and scrambles. She's very resilient on the ground. Hard girl to just keep down and grind on. Pudilova's game would have to be grind heavy. I think Carolina has clearly faster hands. She's going to have a reach advantage too. Knows how to use her striking a lot more than Pudilová does. And I think she's going to do fairly well here. Not that Pudilová couldn't win a round or even land some takedowns in the fight. But I think Carolina will find her way back up to the feet. And I think even Carolina will be on top of Pudilová at some points. Pudilova's cutting down to 25. She's fought here before, but the weight cut definitely shrunk her down. Let's look at the scales. Dude, whoa. Carolina, if she was on the side of the road, right? In, I don't know, San Francisco, you'd think she was like fentanyled out or something. Holy shit. She looks like a zombie in this pic. Whoever took this picture from MMA Junkie, shame on you for doing Lucie Pudilová that dirty. They did Pudilová so dirty. She looks like the Wicked Witch of the fucking West in this. I feel bad for her. Come on, man. Give her some respect. Don't post this. That's dirty. They did her dirty as hell. She looks a mess. And she looks relatively skinny in the arms. And then we got Luana Carolina. She looks excited, happy. Carolina looks better than ever before. I think she's ready to go. Then there's the face-off between them two. Pudilová looks a lot more normal here. MMA Junkie did her dirty. I'm going with Carolina still. I think she gets a decision. I feel like more combination shots, cleaner punches, a little more volume. A little more power, too, for sure, in the striking. Pudilova's striking's mid. We're going with Carolina to get it done. I'm picking her. I feel pretty decent about it falling weigh-ins. Odds are even here. So, another even money fight. Holy hell. Odds for these fights on this card are so close. Carolina at even money. The over is minus 405. Probably over. Carolina by decision is plus 125. I'm going with Luana Carolina on the scorecards. I think she lands some more significant shots, flurries some punches, scrambles on the takedown attempts. She's okay. I mean, she's got a winning UFC record as opposed to Pudilová, who's like, what, 3-7 in the UFC? So I'm going with Luana Carolina. She's going to pull through. She beat Lupe Godinez at one point. Granted, Lupe's a 15er or whatever, 115er. I guess we should say a straw weight. But regardless of the weight class difference, Godinez is a relatively strong wrestler, and Carolina did a good job of stopping those takedowns. Yeah, short notice fight. I get it. There's some red flags around it, but it doesn't matter. Carolina's been winning fights, and she beat a good grappler in Stoliarenko last time. I think she's beaten Pudilová, too. Next fight on the card, we got Loik Radzhabov versus Trey Ogden. I'm picking Trey Ogden to squeak by a decision, man. I'm taking early, a lot of decisions. I'm hoping that there's some damn finishes, but these fights kind of seem like decision fights. I mean, Trey Ogden is pretty durable. I don't think he has a lot of power either. Radzhabov's relatively durable, aside from that knockout to Rebeshki 2 fights ago. I think Trey Ogden's a little more technically sound than Loik Radzhabov, and I think Radzhabov is slightly overrated because of his physique and because he's got the OV as the last 2 letters of the name. He's relatively good, right, at the lower level of the UFC and being a former PFL fighter. He's got good pressure hooks. He can flurry fighters backwards, make them uncomfortable, and then impose his will. But Trey Ogden's pretty calculated with his striking, and he picks his shots really nicely, and he's very calm inside of the cage. He also times takedowns well, which I think is a factor with Loik Radzhabov. I could see Trey Ogden taking him down at the right moments, getting on top, controlling position, landing some effective strikes from top, garnering control time, winning rounds. I think it's close. I think Ogden's a little more technical. I think Radzhabov is more of a physical specimen, but I'm going to go with the technically better guy, Trey Ogden, to win. Easily is on a 2-fight win streak, but the premature stoppage with Mota, he had a fully locked-in arm triangle. The fight was over. So early stop by the ref fumbled the bag, but Ogden was going to win. He was dominating. Trey Ogden's pretty good, and I think Trey Ogden is going to beat Loik Radzhabov in this fight here. Let's look at the scales, though. Let's see. We got Trey Ogden. Bro, he looks drained, though. He looks drained down. I don't know. He's He looks cut, but he's all right. He's, I don't know, looking super close at his face. You can tell it's a hard weight cut, but definitely not a devastating cut. Then Loik Radzhabov obviously looks better on the scale. He looks freaking jacked. The dude is a freak. He's a genetic specimen. He's intimidating to fight against. And then there's the face-off. You know what? Side by side, the size difference isn't really substantial muscularity-wise. I think it's just Radzhabov, for whatever reason, just looks freakier with his muscle insertions. But I think looking at this fight is going to be interesting. I really think Ogden is a little bit better technically, and he should get his hand raised on the card. So I'm going to say Ogden probably takes 2 rounds. It might even be a split, but I see him getting a close decision here. He was an underdog at one point. Now he's essentially even money. Minus 106 for Trey Ogden with Radzhabov at minus 114. So give me Trey. Give me Trey Ogden to win. The over 2.5, minus 230, probably. Ogden to win a decision, plus 175, probably. We're going with Trey Ogden to pull through. Let's do it. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight on it, we have Miranda Maverick versus Dione Barbosa. I'm going with Miranda Maverick here. I think she can win this fight against Dione Barbosa. I know that Barbosa has good jiu-jitsu, the height advantage, some hype on her, but 32, 7-2 as a pro, barely beating Ernesta Kruschewsky in a fight she could have lost the decision. And now she's going to fight Miranda Maverick on short notice and take her out and end her 2-fight win streak? I just don't feel like Barbosa's skills are all that top caliber. Like, she's got good jiu-jitsu, but how's she going to deal with Maverick's overall game? Maverick's a decent kickboxer. She's got good pressure. She's got good cardio. She's training at elevation. She's ready for this damn fight. She was supposed to be fighting Tracy Cortez, which is a major fight. Dione Barbosa's a pretty strong relative step down in competition. Maverick's 4-1 in her last 5. Beat Andrea Lee, beat Priscilla Cachoeira, lost to Jazz Davicius, beat Shayna Young, beat Sabina Mazo. These 2 wins are kind of non-factor wins. Cachoeira win, not huge, but beating Andrea Lee is a relatively decent accomplishment. And Miranda Maverick's been in the UFC a long time, man. She's got double the experience of Dione Barbosa, and she's 5 years younger. I think Miranda Maverick gets a decision here. Now, earlier in the week, I was thinking going for the chalky-locky with her, and I guess it'll still stand here against Dione Barbosa. I'm not backing off of the call. But as the week settles in and I get to Friday, sometimes I say, man, lock in the women's fight. You're a fucking menace to society. So feelings right now are a little different. I don't know. But I'm still confident she wins. It's just the odds have spread a bit. We'll look at the odds in a moment. Let's first bring up the scales. And let's see. Dione Barbosa on short notice. She looks solid. She looks in shape. I think it's a competitive fight that Maverick gets on the scorecards. There's Maverick. She's trying to look a bit seductive with the cross bra at the top, the cross strings. There's the face-off. I think Dione Barbosa gasses a bit. I feel like she also is not super clean with the stand-up. Even though Maverick doesn't have a lot of power, I think Maverick can technically outstrike her. I think Maverick does have wrestling option in this fight. Even though Barbosa has relatively good jiu-jitsu, it's going to be hard to finish Maverick on the ground. So I'm still sticking with Fear the Maverick to get the W in this fight. Now, the odds have spread a bit. Minus 227. Barbosa plus 192. I think Fear the Maverick wins, man. I'm not fading off of her because of some hype on the up-and-comer, okay? I got to zoom this in. I'm sorry the odds haven't been closer this whole damn time. But I think Miranda Fear the Maverick by a decision makes a ton of sense here. The over is likely at minus 325. Barbosa gasses in the later stages. Maverick by decision, only minus 125. Jesus. I'm going with Fear the Maverick to win. But the odds of it are, you know, they're a little wider. Where was it? It was minus 180, minus 205. It's been all over the place. It's weird after weigh-ins sometimes how my confidence level shifts in certain girl fights, especially. Just seeing how Barbosa's posture looked at weigh-ins and her slight size advantage in the face-off. But I still think Miranda Maverick should be able to put a pace on her and make her uncomfortable and win a hard-fought decision. But I think this fight's going to be too close for comfort, and a lot of you are going to be shitting on me for calling it the chalky-locky because, you know what? She's going to win a close decision probably. But she'll still pull through at the end. And yeah, Miranda Fear the Maverick for the W. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have Brian Kelleher versus Cody Gibson. I've been going with Cody Gibson all week long. I think that Cody Gibson, a little bit better at this point of their careers. I don't know. Kelleher's kind of fallen off, dude. I know he's lost 3 in a row to decent opposition, but he's getting destroyed in 3 straight fights. Cody Gibson last time fought Miles Johns, who's an absolute savage, and I'm actually in talks to bring Miles Johns on the channel, so a little sneak preview for you guys that are listening to it. I think that Cody Gibson in this fight's got a clear edge over Kelleher. Outstrikes him technically, outgrapples him as well. Kelleher aging a bit, nearly 38. Yeah, he's only a year older than Cody Gibson, but I just think the hype has dwindled down. I don't know. His game is kind of been found out. Kelleher's got decent leg kicks, okay striking, but for the most part, as of recent years, his only wins are against cans, and that's the harsh truth. Cody Gibson, it's been a while since he's won a damn fight. It's been a year and 7 months ago, and it was ex-UFC fighter Francisco Rivera. Before that, though, he did beat John Dodson, which I still hold in high regard, even 3 freaking years ago. I think Cody Gibson can outstrike Kelleher, can outwork him on the ground, and I think Gibson would be live for a submission because I do believe Kelleher may be mentally checked out. I don't know what he's got left. We'll see. I know Cody Gibson is dreaming of getting a UFC win. I know he's only got what has he got? 1 UFC win? Now I got to check this shit. Cody Gibson, UFC. What's his UFC record? Yeah, 1-5. My God, he's got a terrible UFC record. But he's better than that. There's Cody Gibson flexing. I think he wins this fight. I don't think he's going 1-6 in the freaking UFC, especially as an Ultimate Fighter finalist. There's Brian Kelleher. Pretty badass boom chain, though. Boom. Then there's the face-off. The boom chain just remind me of those Costco guys from Tik Tok, man. Give it the fucking boom. Kelleher's getting boomed in this fight. I'm going with Cody Gibson to get the win. I think he's beaten Brian Kelleher, and I feel like he cleanly outstrikes him with the length advantage and can outgrapple him too. He even had Miles Johns back, who's pretty good, man. Granted, Johns took the fight on like a week's notice, but still. -190 Gibson, Kelleher +165. Give me the side of Cody freaking Gibson, bro. Over 1.5 -190, relatively live. And then what? Gibson by sub is +325. I mean, he could lock up a sub on Kelleher. I called sub, but I don't think throwing, heavy money at it makes a lot of sense. Easily a decision at +250. But I do think Gibson is a potential parlay addition. I'm going with Cody Gibson to get the win, and I see him pulling through against Brian Boom Kelleher. And I do want to check one thing. How many submission wins we got for Gibson? 4 subs? Later stage sub here against an aging Kelleher makes sense. We're going with Cody Gibson to win. Next fight on the card, it brings us to our new main card opener. It's Hyder Amil versus Ji-Yoon Lee. If you guys are watching and enjoying, make sure you smash the likes. If you're new to the channel but you're liking the vibe, make sure you subscribe. I got daily content, and you don't want to miss it. I'm picking Ji-Yoon Lee. I'm going with the Korean Tiger. I'm Team Korea this card, okay? I'm representing. I feel like Ji-Yoon Lee has a speed advantage with his hands, better with some flurries of shots and bursts that he can do. And he also has decent grappling. Gonna have a little reach advantage too. Hyder Amil had a good UFC debut, but he fought a fat, short notice version of Fernie Garcia. He did stop him, so he beat him as he should have, and he beat him up a bit. But I think Ji-Yoon Lee is better than that level. He's 11-1. He avenged his only loss. I know Amil's got the 9-0 record, but he's also 34 years of age. Amil's got a good chin, though. Lee will land some decent punches. I think they scrap a bit. Lee lands some takedowns in the mix, maybe in the later stages. A lot of the striking is going to be competitive, but I think Lee is a little sharper, so land some cleaner shots. But Amil will still be looking to throw hard, and I think Lee probably takes it 2-1. Probably a scorecards fight. I think there's probably a lot of fights that go to the damn scorecard on this card. My gosh, I'm hoping there's not this many decisions. This is going to be a fucking 7-hour live stream on a damn D-tier Vegas card, a D-tier Apex card. I think the Korean Tiger wins. And he's got a badass nickname. Kind of looks like a tiger a little bit too. It looks like he's giving the middle fingers up and they're blurring it. But again, MMA Junkie. MMA Junkie, whoever you got dropping these picks has done Hyder Amil and fucking Pudilová so dirty. MMA Junkie, why are you doing them dirty like that? I always appreciate when you guys post these, though. But come on, don't do him dirty like that. Ji-Yoon Lee with the YouTube home screenshot on the side. Holy shit. Lee looks jacked, though. Holy shit. He looks like a tiger, though. I'm going for the tiger. Look at this intense face-off. I feel like Ji-Yoon Lee getting his hand raised, he's got more upside potential. I got to go with the more high-caliber prospect. I immediately was suspect of Hyder Amil being, nearly 35 and a damn featherweight prospect who's undefeated. Even from Contender, I thought to myself, he's going to run into trouble in the UFC. Minus 170 for Lee with Amil at plus 145. The over rounds is minus 110, so there's actually more of an expect of a finish at minus 120. Lee by KO, what is it, plus 275, with a Lee decision at plus 200. I'm going Ji-Yoon Lee on the cards. I'd love to see a finish, but take a look at Hyder Amil's jaw real quick. They blurred us. Look how blurry that is. That's a bad pick of him. All right, we'll go here. Look at the jaw of Hyder Amil. He looks like a Drew Dober's second cousin, bro. So I'm pretty sure he's got a good chin. I don't think he's going down, but I do think he's getting touched up a bit. So Lee with the speed advantage. It's a hard-fought decision. Next fight on the card, we have Doo-Ho Choi versus Bill Algeo. I think this is the fight to be hype about. Holy hell. From all the fights we've talked about so far, this is the most badass matchup. I'm going with the Korean Superboy to turn back the clock. He hasn't won a fight in a decade, really 8 years. Thiago Tavares, OG. If you remember Thiago Tavares, damn, you're an OG AF, bro. That was his second UFC run. I think Doo-Ho Choi, speed advantage in the striking is a clear factor. He's more of a sniper. He's cleaner with his shots. He's more explosive. He has legit power. And I look at something as I pop out the Zin. Shout out to the Zins. Doo-Ho Choi left the UFC for military service and was gone for a very long time, right? So it interrupted his fighting prime. He came back a year and a half ago. He fought against Kyle Nelson, and he turned Kyle Nelson into a wrestler. Kyle Nelson walked Bill Algeo down with zero fear, completely unfazed by anything Algeo was throwing at him, and was just letting hammers fly with no respect for Algeo's striking. The way Doo-Ho Choi turned Nelson into a wrestler is why I think Choi gets it done with the striking, because I think Choi's takedown defense will be solid for the Algeo level grappling game. I think they'll mix it up in the striking, and I think Choi can land some clean ones, sting Algeo, maybe put him down. I think it's live for Choi to end up getting a knockout and completely turning back the clock. And it's not because Algeo is chinny. He's got a relatively good chin, and he rolls with shots decently. But I do think Doo-Ho Choi is live to beat him. And I know the Kyle Nelson fight was an early stoppage for Algeo, but still, Nelson was walking him down and beating him up. Let's look at the scales. Let's see. I got to get this Hyder Amil pick off my damn screen. My goodness. All right, there is blurry Bill Algeo. He looks ripped, though. We can definitely see he's got the abs. He's in great shape. Look at Doo-Ho Choi. Look at this legend. If you don't remember Doo-Ho Choi, he was supposed to be something special, and I still think he's got a couple banger fights left in him. I'm going with the Korean Superboy to win. There's the face-off. You can see Algeo a little taller. I'm excited for Choi's comeback because I want to see more of Doo-Ho Choi. I want to see Choi go out, get a knockout win, and then maybe fight like a Nate Landwehr or some badass fight. Because I really think he still has some sick fights left in him. This guy's been involved in wars. I mean, his fight with Cub Swanson was legendary. Even the Jeremy Stevens fight. Even the Jourdain fight. He's lost a lot. But I still think he's going to pull through in this matchup. Choi is a plus 150 dog. I'm going for him. Algeo, the minus 175 favorite. Give me the Korean Superboy. Don't really like the props. If you're betting it, you're money lining or you're leaving this thing alone. Choi to win by KO is upwards of plus 325 and then a decision at plus 300. I see Choi as a finisher, and if he gets Algeo hurt, he is going to let the hammers fly and look to get him out of there. So I'm going to call a win by knockout for Doo-Ho Choi. He won't let Algeo off the hook if he has him hurt, and he's definitely got the speed and power to give Algeo a lot of problems in the striking. So Doo-Ho Choi for the W. Next fight on the card, we have Cody Durden versus Bruno Silva. I'm going with Bruno Silva. I think Bulldog Silva can potentially submit him. It's going to be interesting in the striking between these two. I'm curious to see how they clash. I think Silva's a bit more technical as well as being a bit more patient in the striking department. Durden is a very good pressure wrestler, but Bruno Silva has really good scrambles. He has really good jiu-jitsu. I see Bruno Silva locking up a submission against Cody Durden, who gets overzealous, looking for takedowns and trying to find his way on top. I really feel like Cody Durden's win over Jake Hadley was not that impressive. He was caught in a weird leg entanglement there. Lost to Ulanbekov by sub last time. I think Bruno Silva can sub him up. I know he hasn't fought in almost a year and a half, but Bruno Silva's got a nice 3-fight win streak. He's a good fighter. He's just kind of forgotten about and slept on because of his lack of consistency. Lost to Tagir Ulanbekov. At least he went distance, and he did find ways back up to the feet. I know it was a while ago, but Ulanbekov looked huge in that fight. Ulanbekov looked more muscular in that fight than he did against Durden. I think Bruno Silva by submission is live, man. That's what's the side I'm going to ride with. There's Bruno Silva pointing to the sky, having a little fun. Shout out to him. There's Cody Durden with the flex. Looks like typical Durden. You see Durden's a little taller. They're jabbering back and forth at each other. I expect this to be a pretty banger fight. If they're striking, there's going to be emphatic moments. I think Silva lands some clean punches on the feet. I think Durden will look to wrestle and will find himself caught in a sub. So I'm going with Bruno Silva to submit Cody Durden in this fight. Now, as far as the odds, Cody Durden is now the underdog, but Silva's been the dog all week. -102 for Durden, -118 for Silva. Looking at Silva to win via submission, +375. I'm calling him winning by submission. It's going to be a badass fight. I'm excited. I think Bruno Silva catches Cody Durden's neck. We've seen Durden subbed up before, man. And I think Bruno Silva is going to be another guy that subs up Cody Durden. So we're riding with him. Next fight on the card. This is the new featured bout of the night. It's Kurt Holobaugh versus Kaynan Kruschewsky. If you watched the late night live last night, as we were glancing through all the fights and I was getting the people's picks, we all talked about if Kaynan Kruschewsky comes in with the dad bod, we may have to abandon ship because he has been the pick. I think he's more prime than Holobaugh. He's got pretty decent striking, and on top of that, he also has good Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Now, looking at the scales is something that we have to check, right? We have to see. I already know what we're going to bump into, but, the anticipation for you guys is everything. What's your prediction? If you haven't seen it, do you think Kruschewsky has a gut or abs? If you said that he's got a gut, you're wrong. He's shredded AF. This is a Kruschewsky now that I can pick. This is a Kruschewsky I feel good picking. He's not looking fat. Okay, he's looking in tremendous shape for this fight, and I think he's making a very serious comeback after a bad loss to Elves Brenner. He's taking this shit so serious, and he knows Kurt Holobaugh's a badass OG. There's Kurt Holobaugh. I think it's a good fight, but I think it's Kruschewsky's fight to lose, essentially. Like, if Kruschewsky does something stupid and gets caught up in a sub or, keeps the hands low and lets Holobaugh drop some bombs, but I think Kruschewsky can land some clean strikes on the feet. I think he can threaten Holobaugh on the mat, but hard to tap Holobaugh out. He's got good submission defense for the most part. I do think Kruschewsky could rock him, though. I feel like this is going to end up being a pretty banger fight with Kaynan Kruschewsky getting his hand raised at the end. -139 for Kruschewsky, Holobaugh +119. Prop betting side, even just betting size, high risk here. The over 1.5, -205. I think it's relatively live to go over a round and a half. Kruschewsky to win via decision, +280. Submission, +385. KO, +375. Interesting. I'm going to say Kruschewsky on the cards is the route that it ends up going down. But Holobaugh will put up a fight, especially when they're striking. But there's a chance Kruschewsky's pretty accurate with takedowns and controls Holobaugh, because Holobaugh got absolutely smashed against Trey Ogden last time. And I don't think Holobaugh is highly likely to throw up a submission from bottom like a triangle against a guy who has the, grappling skill of Kaynan Kruschewsky. So the pick is Kaynan Kruschewsky to get the W, and I think he's beaten the OG Kurt Holobaugh on this one. Let's jump to our new co-main event of the evening. It's Steve Garcia versus Seung Choi. This fight is going to be excellent. I actually think it's going to be a slanging and banging type fight. Steve Garcia is powerful as hell, but I think Choi is sneakier with his straight. So I'm actually going to call Choi to find the chin of Steve Garcia. I know the hype on Steve Garcia is going crazy. He's on an absolute roll right now. He's a savage bully. Knocked out Melquizio Costa, knocked out Shailan Nordin-Beke, knocked out Chase Hooper. 3 impressive wins, for sure. But I think we can't look past Seung Choi. Beating Jarno Aarons by a decision, you look at, Jarno Aarons sucks. He is from the Netherlands. He's a relatively good striker. Losing to Mike Trezano by KO was a rough loss, but Trezano's in BKFC now. And he left the UFC to do BKFC. Josh Kulabao, close split decision. And then Bruce Leroy, a guy that he dropped early in their fight. And then obviously Bruce Leroy came back to sub him. Fight before that, he knocked out Julian Erosa. I feel like Seung Choi is going to have the X factor for Garcia here. I think the weakness for Steve Garcia is a powerful Asian straight. So I'm going with Seung Choi to catch Steve Garcia with something clean here. Let's look at the scales. All right. Seung Choi. Ripped, in great shape, shredded out, got a tan on. Steve Garcia with the glasses, not in, the same level of shape, but never really is. Look like he kind of had a hard weight cut, though. And then there's the face-off. Choi's a little bit bigger, naturally bigger head. Wow. Look at them side by side. Choi's head is, significantly larger than Steve Garcia's. That's kind of crazy. He's also in much better physical condition. I think Seung Choi's catching Steve Garcia with a big straight shot. We've seen Steve Garcia drop, too, even in the fight that he won against Shailan. He was dropped bad in the first round. And Seung Choi's a sniper. I think Choi's catching that chin, and he's going to end up knocking him out. Choi is an underdog at plus 130. I'm going with Team Choi to pull through. Minus 150 for Steve Garcia. Looking at, let's see, under 2.5 is minus 375, but I like that under 2.5. Under 1.5, you're getting in a lot more risky territory. This fight could go into the third round. And then looking at Choi by a KO plus 195, Garcia KO plus 190. Just fight ends in KO overall. If that was an option, I can't find it here. But if they had that. Seung Choi, scorecards equal no action. Interesting, plus 115. That's not bad. I'm going with Seung Choi to catch a KO in this fight. I think he's going to find Steve Garcia's chin. He's going to snipe him. He's going to put him out. Now, I have picked against Steve Garcia a lot in the past. So maybe I'm a certified Steve Garcia doubter. Let's see if he proves me wrong once again. I think that the sting of Seung Choi is going to take out the meme machine. So we're going with Choi for the W. Now, the co-main event of the evening has been scrapped. If you're wondering why I've been saying, this is the new first fight on the main card. This is the new co-main event. Brad Tavares and Jung Young Park isn't happening. So Jung Young Park weighed in. He was on weight. I'll actually pull up the scales so we can look. Jung Young Park made weight. He looked fine. What the hell went wrong? I need a look. He wasn't medically cleared. Let's see what the news has. Is there any info? Jung Young Park not cleared. Medical issues has forced Park to withdraw. Do we have any reason why? I'm not seeing it. Let's see. I'm searching. Park due to health issues. That's all I'm seeing, health issues with Park. But he looked fine. He looked fine. He looked fine. He looked fine. I don't understand. I'm so confused. Medical issue is all I'm seeing. Not medically cleared. Undisclosed medical issue. So we don't know why. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why they won't tell us, though. I want to know why he can't fight. Fight off. Medical incident on Parkside. That's all we got. Medical incident on Parkside. No more information. But both guys made weight. If something happened with Park, he looked fine there. They didn't face off, though. He got pulled right, but he looked fine. I'm confused. No idea. I will hope that some more insight comes out on why this fight was canceled, but it's not happening. Let's jump to our main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet and you're enjoying the content, make sure you smash that like button. And if it's your first time on the channel, subscribe it up. We're closing in on 34,000 subs. Maybe by the time you're watching, we already hit it, but I definitely want to get there. So excited, and I thank the loyal subscribers. Amanda Lemos, Verna Jandiroba. I'm going with Verna Jandiroba. In the small cage, I'm favoring the smothering grappling, the pressure grappling here, the elite jiu-jitsu. Amanda Lemos has extremely dangerous striking from the open mat, right? When she's in the middle of the octagon, she definitely has a clear advantage. She's way quicker than Jandiroba. She has way more power. She's way more devastating. But against the cage, Jandiroba has good smothering pressure, good back takes, good trips, good takedowns. I really think she's like a monkey when she gets on your damn back. And I think Jandiroba is live to submit Amanda Lemos. Amanda Lemos was taken down by Durden last time, ultimately did well and won that fight. But fight before that, the Weili Zhang fight, she gave a gutsy effort. She did relatively well, throwing up some submission attempts of her own, but Weili was on point with takedowns. And I think Jandiroba is going to be ready to wrestle hard for 5 rounds. I don't know if we get to that point, though, because I think Jandiroba finds a neck in the later stages, maybe third round, maybe 4th round. The thing with Amanda Lemos is 37, right? A style that is very much reliant on her reflexes to land these devastating shots. And note that Virna Jandiroba has never shown deficiencies in her chin. If you look at Virna Jandiroba's career, her losses come against very good jiu-jitsu fighters. Amanda Ribas, Mackenzie Dern, and I believe Carla Esparza. And that was a long time ago for some of those losses, right? Almost 3 years ago for Ribas, over 3 years ago for Dern, back in 2019 with Esparza. When she's taken on strikers, she's pretty damn dominant. Angela Hill, Marina Rodriguez, and then even beating Lupe Godinez last time, who was honestly surging upward and had a lot of hype on her going into that fight. I think Jandiroba can win. A Virna Jandiroba title run may very well be amongst our eyes, and I don't think the fans are too happy about it. But you know what? I think Virna's going to pull that out. I'm picking her to win this fight. The eyes may not be looking at the prize, but ultimately I think she's getting there. There's Virna Jandiroba, looks in great shape. Elite Jiu-Jitsu, ready to press. Is that Raul Rosas? Oh, shit. Amanda Lemos, looking in good shape as well. There's the face-off. Solid intensity, tale of 2 fights, striker versus grappler. We know what Jandiroba wants to do. We know what Lemos wants to do. Who can enact the game? I'm picking Jandiroba to win. But I really don't love betting against an Amanda Lemos outside of like a world title fight. Because let's be honest, Amanda Lemos is an absolute powerhouse. Plus 110, Amanda Lemos, Jandiroba minus 130. So very close lines. And I think that reflects the confidence of most of the people picking or betting in this fight. I don't know if anybody has, a Jandiroba or Lemos like lock bet that they're throwing down everything on the money line. Let me know in the comments. But I think that Jandiroba can win. The over 2.5 is minus 170. Feeling like it could be live. I'm seeing a later stage sub. Looking at submission for Jandiroba, plus 215. Decision is plus 240. That's almost plus 420. If it was plus 420, I'd say it's the sneaky play of the week, but at plus 240, not nearly as good. Lemos by KO, plus 210. I think there's a real possibility that we're going into the later stages, though. Even though I'm picking a win by Jandiroba by sub, this fight going distance isn't crazy, and maybe that over 2.5 becomes the A-tier play. What's an over 1.5? Minus 310? I think that's relatively likely, too. But Jandiroba with the back control, locking up a submission, is something that is very live, man. Ultimately, I see Jandiroba's smothering grappling game giving Lemos a lot of trouble, and I am going to pick Virna Jandiroba to win this underwhelming UFC main event. But at least it's fights, guys. At least it's fights. Now, we're done with the picks, but I'm not done with the show. The post-weigh-in parlays. On a card that really isn't, too parlay heavy, and my mentality here will tell you is because of the close money lines, you recognize the evenness of a lot of these fights. I mean, Cody Gibson to get a win at minus 200 with a Miranda Maverick for a plus 120. If you don't like Miranda Maverick, you don't want to throw the women's fight in it, Cody Gibson to win, potentially with a Mo Usman at plus 177. Now, if you're feeling like these fights are going into the later stages, maybe you're touching over rounds, over 2.5, with the fight with Radzhabov and Ogden. And then if you throw in the over 2.5 with the Carolina fight, we got plus 170. What happens if I took Gibson out? Minus 124 for Radzhabov, Ogden, and Carolina Pudilová to go distance. That's a decent little prelim parlay. I do think it ends up going distance. Do I add anything else into this? The parlays this week, be cautious, man. Be fucking cautious. As the week's gone on, it's gotten even crazier. Kruschewsky plus 214. Bruno Silva now plus 500. If you like Choi, plus 145. Silva, plus 1370. I already see the chaos with the parlays. So, bet smart. Don't throw your life savings. This is a card that maybe you're going a little lighter on and you're saving your heat for 304, which is taking place next weekend, where I think there is some pretty high caliber spots. And I'm really excited for 304. I mean, Mo Usman should get a win. Cody Gibson should get a win, plus 177, right? And now if you don't want to do that, maybe you're risking it all. You're going Luana, Carolina, Miranda, Maverick, the women's fucking parlay. But I'm also thinking, let me just have a little fun with the Team Choi for the W, okay? We're going Duho Choi, and we're going Seung Choi, plus 476. I think you got to go the Choi supremacy in at least, one little degenerate parlay. And if you want to throw more heat on top of it, you could. I think ultimately a Kruschewsky's live, a Silva's live to win. If you're throwing main event, I don't want to. Maybe the over in the main event. I think it's maybe better. Over 2.5 brings you to plus 779. Obviously, you can make these parlays happen without going the Choi supremacy. Maybe you don't like the Choi supremacy side. You want the over in the women's main. Maybe you're just going over rounds for a lot of this shit. Then you're going with the Carolina Pudilová over. Maybe the over action is where everything's at. The Ogden and friggin' Radzhabov over. Boom. Plus 176. Cody Gibson on top of it. Plus 313. Maverick minus 215. Damn, son. This card is fucking crazy. We can call Miranda Maverick the lock, but at the end of the day, the lock confidence is dipped. I don't know. I'm feeling like Cody Gibson's going to pull through, though. And Mo Usman. Even Luana Carolina. Like, I got some confident calls running with Duho Choi as an underdog. Bruno Silva as a close money favorite. Even Kruschewsky with the abs coming through, I think is nice at plus 380. Yeah, this is a wild-ass card. Be cautious, man, because I think this is a card that can take a lot of money from people. We shall find out how it all goes down. Come and enjoy the fights with me. Fight Companion going down at 5 p.m. So make sure you tune into that Saturday, whether it might be Saturday when you're watching this. Thanks for watching, guys. Smash the likes on your way out, and if you're new, subscribe it up. I appreciate you all. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the picks, and if you got nothing to say, W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.